Hello, hello, hello. You've reached Tiffany with Healthy Passions. If you do not know me, let me briefly introduce myself. I am a certified personal trainer, certified energy healer by birth. I'm an oracle, prophetess, and a natural healer. Today we're going to do a witchcraft series. It was time for me to go ahead and put out another video for the witchcraft type series. And today we're going to talk about mirror magic. This one won't take long. I didn't take too many notes, but we're going to go ahead and get this one out of the way. It is mirror witchcraft or mirror magic, right? Or mirror sorcery. All right, so mirror magic is a practice that involves using mirrors for various purposes, including spells, divination, and spiritual communication. It is believed that the mirror can reflect and amplify energies, helping individuals manifest their desires and bring them positive changes in their lives. Additionally, mirror magic is often used for self reflection, self improvement, and personal growth, allowing practitioners to gain insights into their inner selves. The practice can also be the practice can also involve incanting one's appearance or enchanting one's appearance and accessing hidden truths or messages from the other realms. Other mirror magic practices include scrying, protection spells, manifestation, love spells, and glamour spells, etc. Mirrors are useful for amplifiers. They can be charged with a particular energy. Mirrors can be used for scrying, in protection, and banishing magic. Common uses of mirrors. Trapping energy can trapping energy by charging mirrors. People trap the powerful energy of the ocean for spell work. Often used Mirrors are often used in moon magic. They charge mirrors during the full moon to hold on to that energy so they can use it at another time. They also use mirror magic for amplifying. Mirrors are used to amplify the power of a spell, okay, to make it stronger. All right. Number three, saying and accessing, saying, excuse me, yes, I put saying, but I believe it should have been seeing. Seeing and accessing other realms. Scrying is an ancient form of divination magic, which is often used as a form of fortune telling. Okay? They use scrying and mirrors to access messages or visions of the future. They don't naturally have this gift. So usually they don't normally have that gift if they can't have the gift of seeing or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. That was supposed to be scrying. My handwriting is messed up. It was scrying and accessing other realms. Okay. So scrying requires a person to enter a trance-like state, and so it requires a person to enter a trance-like state, and there is where the extreme danger comes in. Mirror Mirrors are a portal opening other realms. Demonic entities could easily in turn or interrupt a scrying session. All right? I never recommend it ever. I think those were my notes. But anyway, number four, mirror magic used for banishing spells, using magic to get rid of a person, a habit, or a thing or an entity. Banishing spells. All right. Mirror magics or mirrors or portals. You can invite negative demonic entities into your home easily through a mirror. All right, so these are my notes that I took. So these are never intended to give you enough information to give you interest in it. It's enough to make you aware of what it is so that you do not do it yourself. I always speak out against witchcraft, no matter what form it is. Now, magic is a normal thing. Magic has been around for a very long time. Witchcraft has been around for a very long time. These are both ancient practices. All right, so one's for the left hand side, one's for the right hand side. Witchcraft in itself The issue with it is that it violates spiritual laws. So there are universal laws that are set in when you practice a lot of forms of witchcraft, you violate those laws. The other thing that it violates is free will. So a lot of times people infringe on people's free will. That's why I speak out against witchcraft. Plus, the Most High Yah is against it. So if you are a child of the Most High, you do not do witchcraft. Yes, we do participate in magic. Sometimes we are called magi's, but this type of witchcraft, this dark magic, this dark practices using dark entities, we don't participate in. All right, so let's talk about mirrors. We see mirrors in so many movies. They put it right in your face. Let's start with the Disney movies. Mirror, mirror on the wall. That type of thing. They are already kind of indoctrinating you to be comfortable with using mirror magic. If you notice in each of the cartoons, not only do they show you how to do it, they kind of show you what happens when you do it. There's always, almost always, a either an image of another ram that shows up or a spirit or entity that speaks through the mirror. Sometimes you see things come out of the mirror or go into the mirror. So when you have a portal is like a doorway. It's a doorway between the physical and the spiritual or to another realm, right? So when you have a doorway, you can come in or out of that. So a lot of times when people are practicing and playing around with black magic in their homes and they're using mirrors to do that, they invite entities in their home, and now their home is occupied by demonic entities, and they call it it's being haunted. All right, so that is mirrors are very dangerous. Um, for me personally, I put in my prayers against the 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 mirrors in my home, because whether small or large, I pray every night on them because I know the entities can go back and forth through them. So I put holy fire over it, and I pray that nothing enters my home through the mirror, because I think more than 90% of bathrooms have mirrors in it. Every house has a mirror in it. So you want to pray over those and make sure that you consistently do so. And me personally, I don't look in mirrors. I may look like briefly to kind of see how I look for the day if I'm checking my appearance, but I don't stare into mirrors. And it's precisely that's the reason why. If I walk past a mirror, I don't look into it. If need be, if it's one of those old timey kind of mirrors that maybe you got at an antique store or that you see in one of these old castles or old ancient places, especially like in certain areas where they're known for witchcraft, I would cover the mirror. So it's very important to know that. Now, also too, when I'm looking over my notes, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. So going into different realms, if you practice that and you are not knowledgeable and you don't know what you're doing, you can get stuck in that realm. All right, let's go into the scrying. You can communicate with the wrong entities. All right, and when these entities come through, they can give you false messages. It could be a masquerading spirit pretending to be the entity that you called up, or it could be what we call a trickster spirit. Okay, these spirits pretend to be something, or they trick you in the message. They may tell you something that's going to come to pass that's not going to happen, or they may tell you something like they are uh, opinions of light or something like that. So these things are very dangerous. Scrying is very similar to automatic writing. You have to go into a trance-like state, and that's where it's dangerous. When you put yourself in that trance-like state, people who practice those type of magics or witchcraft, they do that knowing, some knowing, mostly knowing and willing, but some don't know, to allow something to possess them, even if it's for a moment. So it may not even be your intention to allow something into your vessel, but when you're in that state, that's what allows it. That's why it's very dangerous. And then, like I said, even with the scribe, once you get the messages from them, you don't know who is speaking to you. There's no way, that you should trust what these entities are saying. So That's why I like it when the scripture says to test the spirit, because that means in body or out of body. Especially out of body, you want to test the spirit, okay, to make sure you're not dealing with demonic entities, principalities, fallen angels, so many types, right? So it is what it is. You see scrying a lot in movies. They put these so embedded in our movies, especially our horror movies, so embedded into our culture that we don't even think twice about it. We think that it's pretty much normal because we grew up watching that, or even the young people today, they're growing up watching so much witchcraft being normalized. You don't think anything of it. But these are very dangerous practices, all right? And if you're called to the Most High, you're not called to be doing this. All right. Let's see here. Um, so this writing. So another thing that I thought was interesting was in the notes I put when I was working with the Most High with the notes. I put a lot of people that don't have the gift to hear, see, or feel, or get visions or dreams, because they don't have that, they feel like they have a disadvantage, even though they really in truth don't, because they may be gifted in another area that's totally awesome, but they don't like that gift because they want the gift that someone else's has. They feel like it's more cool. So they're operating out of their purpose and out of Yah's will. Automatically, that leaves them open to attacks because you're operating illegally, basically, within the spiritual realm. Because if you don't have that gift naturally, you shouldn't be forcing it. Does that make sense? And that's a way that you force it. And that's the issue with a lot of witchcraft. You force things that weren't meant to be, and that leaves you vulnerable to attacks, spiritual attacks. And they're well within the right to do so, because when you violate a spiritual contract, or when you violate the will for your life, you basically sign a contract to allow the enemy to attack, and that's we call those demonic contracts. People do that very often unknowingly, but sometimes they do it willingly. You just need to know who you're dealing with. That's why, like I said, you test the spirit. Is there anything else in here? Portals. Yeah, people need to be careful with that, going through portals and stuff, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You could do it on accident. You can most likely get stuck on that portal. Let's say you take a portal to like Saturn, and it's a very demonic scene that you see, or something very scary that we weren't meant to see, and then you're stuck there. That's not something that you want. Or even if you don't get stuck, you saw something and it traumatizes you. You need to be very careful. Do not play around with certain practices, because um it can really ruin you. It can really mess you up. So banishing spells. So that's when people use magic to get rid of a person, like if they don't want them in their life anymore, or to get rid of like bad habits or things like that, or things, right? That's okay. So that's possible without magic. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's possible without magic, especially if you are lowercase god. Um, It's possible without magic. We are made in the image of our Father, so therefore we can use our words. Our words can come to life. Basically, we can bring things past with our words. We don't have to use rituals or anything like that. And that's pretty awesome and it's great, but people need to use their words more instead of relying on outside practices to banish things. Right? So we have that authority automatically, especially if you're walking in the truth and you're standing, living a righteous life and following the laws and commandments. You definitely have the power over. Um, the Most High told me over all of them, really. Nothing can really get to you or harm you if you're walking a righteous life. Now, they can delay you, cause obstacles. They can, if you're in training, sometimes the Most High will allow you to feel some of it so that you know what it feels like, you know how to recognize it, and then you know how to overcome it. So there's certain times when we are allowed to feel, but even with that, the Most High shields us from the full intensity of the spell. Imagine having no covering from the Most High, right? And then someone do a death magic on you or doing some heavy spell work on you. It's because even when we are in training, we're shielded from feeling it completely. But sometimes, even just in training, it can be debilitating. It's very scary, strange feeling. And then you'll go back and forth to the doctor, and the doctor will tell you there's nothing physically wrong with you, but you really feel sick, or you really feel debilitated, or you really feel like something's like oppressing you, or you get scratches on your body that are unexplained. Things like that happen. So imagine being not covered by the Most High and feeling the intensity of that. It's not fun. It's not something to play with. It's something that I want you to think about, right? Before you make the choice. Because the thing is, whether you sign a contract in blood or not, your consent is going through the motions. It's going ahead and doing the spell. You're automatically giving consent, which means you have a demonic contract, and you would have to be delivered from that at that point. Okay. Also, too, when we deal with these types of magic and uh, I would say witchcraft because magic is a little different, but this type of witchcraft, when you deal with these things, there are demonic entities attached to those things that you have to deal with and now fight. So you may do it one time thinking that it's innocent, nothing's going to happen to you, and develop 7 to 10 demons, sometimes 200. It depends. All right. So you got to be careful with those. You need to know who and what you're dealing with at all times. So when you do agree to do something, you have to take full responsibility for it because you have consciously made a decision to commit that sin, if that makes sense, right? So, our magic, as the Most High's chosen people, has been demonized or perverted and then demonized. So, people confuse the two. But that's when you get well learned. You have to study to show yourself approved so you know what is and what isn't. I'm just briefly touching the surface on some of these because I know there's a lot of young men and women that are interested in getting into these practices. But my job is not to bring you interest into joining them, is to try to convince you to not do it, because that is the message for the series. It's better, you're better off not doing it. There are no shortcuts, there are no manipulations of energies or anything like that that doesn't cause you harm. I'm not saying, notice I never said that it didn't work. I said it doesn't cause you harm. When the Most High gives a blessing or a gift to someone, or even a spiritual gift to someone, it comes without repentance, meaning it comes without stress, unclarity, things like that, right? So when the enemy gives you a gift, it always comes at a cost. It will cost you something. Even the people who practice magic, they are witchcraft, they tell you all magic comes at a cost. Are you willing to pay the cost? And the issue with that is, yeah, you know there's a cost, but on the surface level, it might it might say that you lose your house, but in the fine print, or what they're hiding from you, is, yeah, you lose your house, but then you start a family curse for 4 generations or 10 generations or something like that, or indefinitely. See, those are fine print things that you won't see in the contract, or that will be purposely hidden from you because you didn't do your due diligence when dealing with a demonic entity. They are not your friend. They are never going to be your friend. I don't care how evil and dark you think you are. They do not have your best interest at hand. They hate humanity. They hate gods. They hate us. So there's no reason to be doing backdoor pacts with them. You're better off just doing everything the correct way, taking the the journey step by step. It may take a little longer. That's why it seems like when you're dealing with the Most High, it takes longer for you to get to things. It may take longer, but it's without repentance, meaning you won't regret what comes once you have done the work, right? But It never fails. All the people who wanted to take the shortcut and they signed a demonic contract with Satan, they regret it every single time. Never fails. Okay. Love you guys. Take care. I didn't expect this one to be that long, but I wanted to make sure that you guys aren't out here playing with mirrors. So remember, you have all types of mirrors. You have a black mirror in your phone. You have mirrors in your home, in your makeup bag. You have mirrors everywhere. So just be aware. This is not to cause you to fear a mirror because you have authority over it, but don't play with the mirror. Don't entice entities in your mirror and then wonder why they crossed over into your home. Okay? So I love you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.